Now we move forward to about 12 o'clock. Now you've got your hurricane force winds on this outer eye wall. Panama City being hit, Mexico Beach, Port St. Joe, all of these places along the Florida coastline are going to be hammered by around 12 o'clock. And that's right before landfall. Landfall will be at about 1 o'clock. Once that eye wall moves about halfway onshore, you'll still have your strongest winds right along the coastline. But now you've also integrated these other counties with those stronger winds. Bonifay, Mariana, Caryville, Alpha, these locations will start to see those winds pick up. Let's look at those wind speeds. I just kind of broke them down for you, but to just give you an idea, you get into these purples, and that's where we're talking about the tropical storm force winds up to hurricane force winds. So you see Panama City consistently 74 miles an hour. That's hurricane force strength. That's going to be late morning through early and middle afternoon along the coastline. The good news about hurricanes is once they move onshore, they deal with friction. That's why they don't work well over land. It slows the winds down, and gradually we will see that to the point where hurricane force winds should be fairly sparse. However, the wind gusts within the center circulation and just to the east, west, north, south, those will consistently be at about hurricane force. But you're looking actually at a rain shaft is what we call it. When you see it from a distance and all of a sudden you've got what looks like a column extending to the ground, that's some really heavy rain. I showed it in first weather, that little cell that was moving across 231 south. It's now more or less to the south and east of Dothan, but pretty cool to see that off in the distance. But that's what we're looking at today. Pouring rain, then sun. Maybe another round of rain, and then sun, and then maybe we'll wrap up later on this evening with that rainfall and, turn drier. I'm here for the second edition of Where's Evan, and where am I exactly? I'm out at Lake Defuniak in the beautiful Defuniak Springs, Florida. It's over in Walton County, as you may know from weather reports. It is a population of roughly 6,000. Earlier, and I'm trying to repeat this because I know it's a question that's not just on my mind, but I've had people come up and ask me, is it okay to put away those winter clothes? So if you're that type of person who has, you keep that stored away that time of year and then you bring summer clothes back in, this is about as cold as we're going to get. It's a bigger eye, probably about a 40-mile diameter, and then it gets down to almost like a pinhole. It's hitting these mountains here. They're about 3,000 to 4,000 feet high, and what that does, it disrupts the wind flow around the middle. Hurricanes don't like that. That's why they form over open water, no friction. The day today, we've had this amplified trough for the last couple of days, and essentially what we've had is you get these storm systems, they follow it, and it's stayed for the most part just to the south. New cell generate. See how that moves? It's really, really cool. You'll see these storms, one will collapse and then another, to the north, south, east, west will form due to that cool air destabilizing that atmosphere. So it's 5 o'clock, western Alabama getting that rainfall. We'll throw Pensacola in there, Milton, Florida, Escambia County, Santa Rosa County. 7 o'clock, now you're looking at the western half of the Wiregrass getting the rainfall. Notice the color contouring to the south and the bowed out lead edge. That's where we're going to have the biggest threat for some gusty winds, likely right along the coastline, the Florida Panhandle, maybe even some of our western counties. Lunchtime temperatures are going to be right around 90, upper 80s to lower 90s. Again, that feels like temperature, though, around that time of day is going to be close to, if not in the triple digits. We have mainly clear skies, few high clouds out there at worst. Let's look at the day planner for today. As Lisa just alluded to, it's easy to look at that afternoon temperature of 62. And if that's your ideal weather, if 62, 63 degrees and sunshine is your ideal forecast, we'll get there. We're not there yet, though. We're going to be cold over the next couple of hours by 8 o'clock into the 40s. I got a Mexico Beach at 116 miles an hour, which I don't know if you saw the video or not yet, Eric. I know I showed it to David earlier. We saw, what seemed like rooftops left over from that storm surge. So that was, if you recall, when David was talking about the east side of the storm and how it's going, the winds and the water are going with it. So the storm surge there probably with the 116 mile an hour winds had something to do with that. Also, Tyndall Air Force Base, which is kind of right in between Panama City and Mexico Beach, confirmed 129 mile an hour wind gusts. Cape San Blas at 106 miles an hour. Port St. Joe at 113. And as you get further to the east, it looked like they died down. The highest confirmed I could find for Apalachicola was 89 miles an hour. However, that was much earlier in the day. Still haven't been able to find a confirmed report. But then you look at the one in Mariana, Eric. Right. 102 miles an hour.
That's what I'm saying. When I said earlier how just even the eye being 25-ish miles away from, say, downtown Dothan, you start to shift that, and some of those higher wind gusts closer to the 90-ish mile per hour threshold could have gone right over us if you just transition that storm a little bit farther.
Well, absolutely, and just imagine what that could have done. I mean, obviously, Marianna is a town with population, but Dothan being a lot bigger, having 102-mile-an-hour wind come through down to that could be very crippling. So it was good to see that weekend. But I'm in awe of these October wind speeds. These are wind gusts, as David mentioned. Sustained winds are much closer to that 85, 90 miles an hour, but every now and then we had that pocket with those really strong winds.
Yeah, this storm has certainly impressed many of us here, many meteorologists and a lot of people. It did kind of, I don't want to say it sprung up, but within a week ago,
it was a cluster of storms in the Southern Caribbean.
It was a cluster of storms. It's almost a Cat 5 hurricane. Like that's about as say explosive as you can get with a hurricane.
Absolutely. It's been a crazy day. We've gotten all sorts of news, and we've got some more from our own Devin Sellers, so we're going to send it over to Devin. Devin?
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, the bling in your ring is a product of the most violent kind of explosion in the universe. While observing a galaxy 130 million light years away, NASA scientists became the first to see a gamma ray burst caused by two neutron stars smashing into each other. So what does this mean to you and to me? Joining me live this morning via Skype with more is NASA astrophysicist director Dr. Paul Hertz. Good morning, Dr. Paul Hertz. How are you doing?
Good morning, Evan. I'm well this morning.
I'm sure you all are because of the discovery you made yesterday. Can you walk us through that? Explain to the viewers what you discovered and what the magnitude of it means for all of us here.
Well, it's very exciting. Yesterday, we detected the collision of two neutron stars in a galaxy 130 million miles away. Neutron stars are the most compact stars that we know of in the universe. This explosion was so powerful that first it caused ripples in space-time that were detected here on Earth as gravitational waves. And then it emitted a burst of gamma rays, showing that the explosion had produced so much energy that the matter released was fusing into many of the heavy elements in our periodic table, such as gold, platinum, and other valuable minerals.
So, okay, obviously it's no coincidence why we have the minerals on Earth. It comes from stuff like this. So for the people at home, like the golden rings, is it stardust? How do these heavy metals make it from these explosions, these violent explosions in deep space, all the way to Earth?
Well, all of the elements that our Earth and ourselves are made of were formed somewhere in the universe. And what we saw yesterday was the formation of many of the heavy elements. We believe that all of the gold and other heavy elements on the Earth, and in fact in the whole universe, were formed in explosions of this type. After the explosion happens, it deposits all of those elements into the interstellar medium. The explosion spews them out. And then millions of years later, the gas and dust in the interstellar medium collapses to form new stars and new planets. So an explosion of this type happened in our own galaxy billions of years ago before the sun and the solar system formed, and that's where the elements that are present in the Earth formed.
Very cool. So this isn't the first time you've seen an explosion like this. I remember learning when I was in school about neutron stars and the impacts, But why is this, what makes this one so special to you guys and to everybody else?
Well, because this time was the first time we've ever seen both gamma rays and gravitational waves from the same explosion. And this triggered a worldwide frenzy by astronomers. Over 70 observatories, including 7 space telescopes, were trained on this exploding star, and we were able to observe its change in light, and we were able to observe the spectral fingerprints that showed us the formation of gold and the other heavy elements as it was occurring.
That's pretty incredible. We got about a minute left, and you keep saying gravitational waves. Can you elaborate on that a little bit and to what sort of significance that has to you and to all of us here?
Well, over 100 years ago, Albert Einstein, you may have heard of him, devised his theory of general relativity, which is a theory of gravity. And amongst the other things he said this theory implied is that space-time is curved by gravity, and that a powerful enough gravitational event will cause gravitational waves, which are like ripples on a pond, but the pond is space-time itself. And it took us over 100 years to figure out how to measure these ripples. The first gravitational waves were detected 2 years ago, and that discovery was honored with this year's Nobel Prize in Physics. So once again, Albert Einstein was proven right.
That's absolutely incredible. This has all been very fascinating information beyond our atmosphere. I love learning about space, so do a lot of our viewers. If they want to find more, where would you advise them to go and learn about this?
Well, we have put lots of information about yesterday's announcement at www.nasa.gov/Fermi, Fermi.
Awesome. We'll get that up on our website. Thank you so much, Dr. Hertz, for your time this morning. And we look forward to hearing more about this incredible discovery you guys have unearthed here.
Well, NASA will be making all of our discoveries known to you and the rest of the people.
Awesome. Thank you very much. You have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, that was some interesting information here early in the morning. Obviously, 130 million light years away. That's pretty far. Let's take a look.